Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John. This report is for the 13th. Well, we got the move, and it was based off of, what we expected to happen. Deals starting to take place, and the revisions of GDP, all of the negatives. Of course, market is expecting now that they're going to get their signs of inflation and the new CPI numbers and that. So that'll be the narrative going forward. Still, when you look at the readings here, it's all magenta over yellow, well above the 33 all the way through this entire run. We paused for a brief moment, but there's been no short activity whatsoever. So the real players aren't going the wrong direction on this. They were just trying to sell it to everyone else. And you can see our rising shakeout doing exactly as it has to. Otherwise, we would have had hiccups by now. And we expected to move towards the 100%. Now, in this case, the 100% moving a little bit lower, so that'll be a little easier for it to get to, but consistent with everything we've been looking for. So it's not a surprise, but to some it is, because they were expecting doom and gloom. All these people talking about, we're going to dropping 50%, yada yada. I know it's crazy, but we just deal with it regardless. And of course, yields declining, and they should, because at the end of the day, there's no point to have higher rates unless inflation actually shows up. What is it going to do? Well, we're stuck in this range at this particular point, which is still way elevated than where it should be, but that's the situation as it is, because the Fed is playing defensive. And for no good reason. I mean, oil, your best case, where are you going to get inflation from the oil standpoint? You're not. They all think it's going to come from these goods that supposedly everyone is going to be paying more for, but they're not required to. So go figure that one. Still, the math doesn't check. I've never understood how they get away with it, but they've convinced a lot of people. And gosh, I'll be really foolish looking if it all of a sudden pops up. We have this massive inflation coming from nowhere, just economic wise. Don't see where they're getting it, but okay, we'll just keep playing along. Just follow the readings. And the euro, of course, like I said, disaster situation, and this makes it worse for them, because the more deals that get done puts them at odds with everybody else, and that's a problem, because they're already upside down, so they can't afford to be too late to the party, and they're going to be trying to stick to it as much as they can, because this is that whole, we have to counter anything Trump wants to do, same with the war, or the whole 9 yards, just to be a counterforce. Makes no sense. It's what the people do. We see a lot of nonsense out there, and you just have to adapt to it and move on. From a gold standpoint, it's just going to hold here a little bit there. Everyone's anticipating, so there's going to be the play going back and forth that they think inflation there, but if it doesn't, gold's going to have a little bit of a pullback, so to speak. And Bitcoin in that, they're just fine now with this. It gives them impetus that things aren't going to be difficult, that when you have a positive GDP coming in for the quarter, you can't have a recession before the end of the year. So that destroys that narrative. That doesn't mean that you're not going to still have, erratic growth. I mentioned this from last year, that there are going to be certain regions that do better because their policies are better. It's not a difficult concept to grasp. ETH also doing well from that. And so we can look at it from our 50K. It took advantage of the peak to the 100%, moved in right there. So that was a pretty good move from the original buy, which was at 685 level. So, yeah, not bad. And you can see that right there. So, what is that? 823 range? Yeah. It was pretty good. So all in all, beautiful from that standpoint. No objections whatsoever. We can see that from that big run up in the pre-market, and we just kind of traded in a range through there, back and forth, and finally up to the peak of it, and they're still filling it back in just a little bit in the post-market, waiting for data. Because data is going to tell them something that they can't already see. And okay, we'll wait for it. But as always, we'll continue to just follow the readings. Anything relevant, I'll put it on our team chat. Have a good one. Trade well.